Boys and girls, children of all ages, I am Prussia the Shower, and you are being treated to one of my first appearances in quite a while. Um, Aside from past uploads, anyways. Um, Mostly what I want to talk to you about today is, well, honestly, it's about context, and it's about keeping things in mind and keeping a perspective. Um, and this argument's probably been made far better than I can make it by someone else, but I feel the need to put in my 2 cents, so to speak. Yeah, long story here. The Amazing Spider-Man is coming out today, at midnight tonight, tomorrow. You're probably going to be seeing this tomorrow, or at least after midnight, so today, which is when I'm going to go see it today. Um, but yeah, there's been a lot of back and forth with the reviews, the critical reviews specifically. People either love it, hate it, or are confused by it. It's all swimming around in this giant pot. And it's kind of understandable why to a degree, but at the same time, definitely not something that belongs in an actual critical review. Something that could be in a discussion, yes, or even necessarily maybe even be posed in the review, but when you base your review on this question, it's frankly stupid. You should not critique a movie based on this. Basically, whether or not it needed to happen. The whole argument seems to be swirling around whether or not the reboot was needed. That's something that you should have been discussing like 2 years ago when they started filming, okay, or before they started. It's done. It doesn't matter if it's needed. It's here, and you need to judge it based on its merits. That being said, they keep constantly going back, and this is the frustrating part, comparing it to Raimi's movies as if Raimi himself created the origin. I am not kidding. No, I'm not making this crap up. They're actually throwing a fit because he still gets bit by the spider, still gets his powers. Uncle Ben still dies. He becomes a superhero. This is actually what they're complaining. Oh yeah, and there's a villain and he gets a girlfriend. Yep, that's totally what they're. It is. It's what they're complaining about. They're saying that it's pretty much because of that too similar to Raimi's movies and therefore not a good movie because instead of trying to do it something else, it's based on the same source material. I mean, they literally want Mark Webb to take the canon of Spider-Man and just chuck it out the window and completely do something utterly different. Never mind the stuff that he actually does do in there. He actually shows him creating the suit. He actually shows him building the web shooters. He actually shows him figuring out how to make the webbing and acquiring it. You know, all this stuff. All the stuff that was just completely plain omitted before. The parents, you know, this is all new stuff, and it's very important to how the character is perceived. It's very important to how the character is set up. And yet that's dismissed as irrelevant details, but because the bulk is the same, then it's the exact same story. Yeah. Then this criticism that it's too dark. Okay, first of all, seeing what's out there, it's not that dark. It's darker. It's dark in the same realm as the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is dark. It gets serious. It's not overly campy. It's got some amount of camp to it. Any superhero movie will. That's a given. But it's not like outright cheesy, goofy stuff like Raimi was doing in his movies. Which, love him or hate him, you gotta admit, there was a high cheese factor. You know? This is a completely different feel, a completely different setup with characters that are being established in a completely different way. You know, but it's really no dark even than some of the comics. People keep saying that Spider-Man's no place for dark storytelling. Really, Maximum Carnage. Carnage breaks out of a mental institution along with a couple of other supervillains, goes on a killing spree. Gwen Stacy's death pretty much at the hands of Spider-Man himself, completely by accident. There you go. You know, pretty much anything to do with Venom and Carnage, really. Kraven's Last Hunt ended with, frankly, a pretty graphic suicide shot. I mean, wow. Yeah, Spider-Man has, you know, there's no place for dark storytelling whatsoever in Spider-Man, apparently. He's supposed to be all light and fluffy and campy. Oh, and my personal favorite, though, complaint, I think, came from one of the reviews, where your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is not so friendly anymore. He's swinging around acting like, as the kids would say today, a dick, and harassing his targeted criminals just because he can. That's what Spider-Man does. That's what Spider-Man does. He makes jokes at the expenses of his enemies. I mean, he does that. That's his shtick. It's one of his iconic character traits, and they're actually complaining that it's there. I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, we got at least one review from a critic that's literally bashing it just because it's Spider-Man. I don't mean necessarily because he hates Spider-Man in particular. He seems to hate the entire superhero film genre. And just because it's Spider-Man and doesn't do anything different than the comics, or not enough different from the comics, or whatever, then yeah, he bashed it. Because apparently, I don't know. It's weird. It's in the New Yorker. Oh yeah. And I mean, reviews are all over the place. You got some of the top critics who hate it, some of the top critics love it. Roger Ebert actually thinks it's the best Spider-Man film outside of Spider-Man 2. In fact, it's almost on par with it, he says. I don't know. It's all over the place. But what I'm basically trying to get this through people's heads, that there's certain arguments, certain critiques that you got to keep in mind when you're doing this. Another one that kind of bothers me, it's a little more legitimate, I guess, but still bugs me because I know what it's going for, is this complaint that the Lizard, well, there's various complaints about the Lizard. Some of them that the human side, some say it's too Jekyll and Hyde, others act like it's not Jekyll and Hyde enough, in that Doc Connors is purely good and the Lizard is evil, and therefore Doc Connors would be trying to, even though, no, God, I don't want to say anything without spoiling what I do know, because I do know some about this movie. Long story short, to quote him in an interview, they decided to handle Connors and his transformation back and forth from Lizard to human. If it even is a back and forth, I'm not sure it is. But it's like a drug addiction. It's like a drug addict slowly losing control of his mind. Dr. Connors' mind, a brilliant mind. Guy's a freaking genius, and this is established. Nicest guy in the world too. Has the best intentions in mind, even if his ideas might be, frankly, a little twisted. But he does have the best intentions at heart. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to necessarily force this on anybody. He's just got the best of intentions. And you watch him slowly deteriorate into this feral beast. And that's the other complaint. The Lizard's just too feral, it's the Lizard. At some point, the human's going to be almost completely gone, and the Lizard's all that's left. That's how it's always been. In the comics, it was a little more direct, though, because he'd go full Lizard, and it looked this way. Then the Todd McFarlane years kicked in, and then he was still a little more intelligent than, mindless beast, but he looked far more bestial. And now, I guess what they've done in the new comics is they have him actually look like a giant bipedal lizard, and his mind's completely gone. I mean, there's still some intellect there, yeah, but the mind, the rationality, the humanity, completely gone. So, and they had to basically try to fit this into one film. So as he's becoming more Lizard, his mind starts slipping more and more and more. And it's something that one critic mentioned, and a lot of the others seem to omit for one reason or another. I don't know. Is apparently there's a back and forth exchange between him and his Lizard mind inside of his own mindscape, so to speak. And well, that did happen to Connors. That's right out of the comics. I'm not gonna lie. Apparently though that's one of their other complaints because apparently they're ripping off the Green Goblin even though even though he didn't. Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna go there right now, but I can kind of see why some people might think that they didn't spend enough time distinguishing he's good, this is evil, this is not him. It is, but it isn't. His mind is slowly being twisted. He's under the influence of that serum the entire time. So it's really not him. Kind of like how people act different when they're drunk or on drugs or whatever. Same thing with Connors in this. It's not really Connors. It's his problem. And anyways, yeah. That being said, I'm going to basically be signing off for tonight. I'm going to upload this probably while I go to bed. Should be up for all you all in the morning to see. I just want you all to keep in mind, keep an open mind when you go into this because, yeah, some of it's going to be the way what you've seen before, but at the same time, it's not. It's set up differently. The characters are established differently, and you know what? We're gonna have a little fun. I want to have a little fun here. Pop quiz for you guys. Who actually said the line, "With great power comes great responsibility" in Amazing Fantasy number 50? Who was the character who said it? This'll be fun. Anyways, guys. Anyways, that's it for tonight. I will be reviewing the movie tomorrow. I will try to get it out before 6 or 7 or whenever cinemas, most of you people go to most of the theaters. Probably going to record it like shortly after I get back. If I have to lock myself in the bathroom and do it, I will, because it's going to get done. I am going in there with an open mind, not expecting 100% perfection, but I'm also got some really high hopes for it. So it'll be interesting to see what the final verdict is. And I know people are going to say, oh, you've been hyping it, of course you're going to say good things. Not necessarily. I was harder on The Last Airbender than people thought I would be, and I was thinking that was going to be better than it was too. So, who knows. Anyways, yeah, there's your pop quiz for tonight, though. Who said the line, "With great power comes great responsibility" in the comics? And I will catch all you guys later.